Hey everyone. My name is Todor. I work with Chainlink Labs, taking care of VRF. And this is Henry the Grape from CyberKongz. Henry,
Hello.
would you like to introduce yourself? Tell us a bit more about yourself.
Yeah, I'm Henry the Grape. So I'm the community manager of CyberKongz, and I'm also on the Council of Kongz, which is our Web3 core team.
Cool, cool. So, you know, you've been doing this project for quite a while now. Could you tell us a bit more about how it started, its history, how it's going?
Yeah, so CyberKongz is a, maybe by some standards, OG, but we're talking sort of the beginning of the NFT craze. March of 2021 was when we initially launched, and really our founder, whose name is Mio, launched this as a COVID relief project. So he just, by today's standards, it probably wouldn't have worked because he released it on OpenSea. So it was just 1,000 Genesis Kongs for 0.01 Ethereum. And this is sort of the beauty of Web3, is a community formed around these cool NFTs. And some really cool people with some really big brains entered the project early and started to build out this ecosystem with a utility token, breeding mechanics, and really one of the first, but the first voxelized art that was generated using Sandbox, their Vox Edit program. So we had a couple things that we did that were sort of, they were innovative, using a utility token to breed, et cetera, and it just kind of took off. And so all of a sudden, we had to form a team and start trying to implement a roadmap and do all the things that are standard now, but didn't really seem standard at the time. So that's like, it's trying to put everything into a small box, but that's sort of a really basic idea of what Kongs are.
Yeah, so how long was it total, I guess?
Yeah, it's been 18, almost 19 months ago that we launched. March of 2021 was our first collection.
That's tens of years in real world time, right?
Way back then. No, the crazy thing is it takes a lot to sustain through, let's say multiple bear markets. But I think right now, what's really cool about what's happening in the market is the people that are building, as cliche as it sounds, like we meme building, we meme communities, but the reality is that's a lot of what drives people to Web3. The technology, I mean, that's the thing that I think a lot of times people forget. What's the price of your project is how we judge a lot of the quality of a project, when the reality is the price of the project is not always indicative of the quality of the team and the technology that they're trying to innovate. So we were lucky, maybe to a certain degree, that we were able to sustain value through some bear markets, and that's at least allowed us to still be relevant and come to events to be able to talk about this awesome tech that we're really all here for, to kind of learn about, and we're all trying to pioneer this space and be a part of something that like everybody here probably thinks is really special.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you've been probably our biggest user of Chainlink VRF in terms of a number of transactions. When did you start using Chainlink VRF, and what exactly is the use case or the use cases?
Yeah, so we launched our initial collection March of 21, which was 1,000 Genesis Kongs, which bred baby Kongs. But we have always made a play for gaming and utility within the metaverse, which was one of the reasons that we came out with our voxelized Kongs, which there's 15,000 of those. Our VX Kongs, as we were waiting for metaverses to sort of open up, obviously like, the Sandbox, which is one of our big partners, we needed to be able to also start working towards some gaming mechanics. And so we have a lot of gamers. A lot of the guys on the core team came from Axes. So we started this foundation, what we call play and collect, which everything is, a lot of people talk about play to earn. We call it play and collect, because every day you can go on these adventure runs and collect loot. Some of the loot is for obviously our ecosystem. We'll kind of talk about some of the stuff we just released, which is outside of our ecosystem. But we introduced Chainlink into our play and collect ecosystem from day one, which officially launched, it was either end of February or March of 22. And we kind of knew we needed something for the quality that we think we are as a project. And I say that in a humble way, not in an arrogant way, but our holders expect that we're going to always deliver quality. And part of that quality is also being able to prove fairness. You know, when you're talking about assets, NFTs, ERC20 tokens that you can collect within a game, you want to make sure that it's fair. So that was how we linked up with Chainlink. Is Chainlink is a leader in the industry.
So yeah, basically I was going to ask you why you decided to use Chainlink VRF in the first place, but I think you kind of already kind of alluded to that. Yeah.
It was super important to us that aspect of gaming was not ever a question from our holder standpoint. Like, we don't want anybody thinking, well, okay, so-and-so got this because he holds this many NFTs, or just take that right out of the equation. And while there are other ways to RNG, the reality was Chainlink to us was always the solution, to be able to prove randomness. So VRF is, honestly, it's to a certain degree the backbone of our play and collect ecosystem. It's really, really important. And we were chatting earlier, we've done, I think, 2 million fulfillments.
More than 2 million, I think, yeah, which is a huge number,
You were talking earlier, and I saw one of the slides that said like 8 million, 8.2 million fulfillments. And I was like,
you got 25%.
Like, yeah, we're okay. We're using it. There's a reason, and our holders really are enjoying the game because it is rewarding, but also it's provable that it's fair. So I think this is to exactly what you were talking earlier today about, like, use cases in gaming, use cases in, whether it's casinos. I think we're showing, like, there's a real use case for it.
Yeah, I think in your case, it's really interesting, though, because it's not the core of your project. It's really, like, the core of your project is just PFP NFTs, right? They don't need randomness. But you built on top of it in order to create a more engaging experience, kind of to stand out from the competition, because it's gamified the experience, basically.
Yeah, we called it a gamified minting experience. That was sort of how we, explained what play and collect was to our ecosystem. But I think NFTs, specifically PFPs, I think have this. I think a lot of people just think that it's nothing more than a flip game. There's a lot of people on the outside that don't understand what a community could coalesce around. Like, how could you have a community? How could you build anything around a digital picture? But you can, because it's been done numerous times. Like, we're all experiencing that. Like, you can, because there is something of value. Some of it's intangible. Some of it is actual value, where you're like, okay, the price of this is X. But some of it is also the value of the community that you build, and the experiences that community has getting together in real life, degenning in a Discord together, playing a game together. So I think CyberKongz have shown that, yeah, there can be way more to an NFT project than just buying something with the hopes that it goes up in price and then selling it.
Yeah, it's really all about the community. It's not obvious, but once you get into it, it's really all about the community.
It's obvious to some of us. I mean, that's the thing. I think, unfortunately, like, there's still a massive learning curve for people. There's still barriers of entry for a lot of people, but I think the more of this that happens, and the more people that are able to be good stewards of this space, there's a lot of bad stewards. Not a lot. There are bad stewards, and sometimes there are some of the more vocal people, and they can leave a bad taste in the mouths of people who don't understand what Web3 can be about, the tech behind it. But I think as long as we all keep doing our job of trying to educate people and trying to be good stewards of Web3, I think we all know what the potential of this is.
Yeah.
And I can show you. I could give you an example, at any point of how we use Chainlink on our play and collect runs. I'm not gonna lie, you're not gonna be wowed by the UI of this, okay? But we're working on it. This is a game for our holders. Do you want me to show you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Please.
So this is something that, okay. And while I'm kind of bringing this up, I'll explain. Okay, so this is like our portal. This is where you go to start an adventure run. And this little guy right here is one of my VXKongs that's going to do an adventure run. Every day, a VXKong can do one free adventure run using what we call a fuel rod. But you can also use our utility token to continue going on adventure runs. By the way, my luck is terrible. So we're not going to win anything here, by the way.
Oh, it's Chainlink VRF, man.
What's that?
It's Chainlink VRF.
Yeah. But there's some luck factor involved because I see people that are doing really well, but it is Chainlink. Okay, so here we go. This is on Polygon, by the way. We just introduced Chainlink for the first time on mainnet with a release that we started last week, which I'll kind of explain here as we do this. So right now, we're just doing a simple transaction, and we're listening for the oracle here in a second, and it will tell us what loot, if any, we got on this adventure run. This little guy right here, this rainbow crystal, is one component of our ecosystem. Our baby Kongs make, let's say they yield these charms, but there's 3 different rarities of these charms, and so basically, part of what we use Chainlink for is to determine what rarity is somebody going to get when they get a charm. A charm basically buffs your team of VXKongs, which could be 1, which is what I'm running, or it could be 5. So that's one component of VRF. Okay, so I failed this, told you. I failed this particular run, but in this I got 13. This is a soulbound token called Kongium, and we use Kongium to level up our characters. I could look up why I failed this, but I'm not going to. There's obviously an RNG factor too, but some events you have to have a certain level charm in order to be able to win that event.
That's a lot more than just flipping a coin. That's
Oh yeah. There are guys that literally, like, I could go into our Discord right now and say like, hey, what do I need in order to pass this event? And they would be able to rattle off. You need 3 level 20s, and you need a common a frag, we call it, which is a common charm. But what we've introduced now into our play and collect ecosystem is, this is on Polygon. You can collect certain tokens within our ecosystem. But last week we launched using VRF on mainnet. We call it the Claw. So you could win on one of these adventure runs a golden ticket, and that golden ticket you can use in the Claw to be able to redeem using VRF. Some pretty awesome like mainnet NFTs, things like Genesis Kongs, goblins. There's a whole list of them. But if you play this, you can get a golden ticket, and there's over 1,000 Ethereum worth of prizes in the prize pool. And I think our biggest prize in there are Genesis Kongs. I think there's 35 Genesis Kongs in the prize pool. Maybe there's 20. I think there's closer to 20, sorry about that. But those are, 17 Ethereum. So it's really important that people know that these types of events are fair. Because when you have prize pools with over 1,000 Ethereum worth of NFTs, yeah, you want to at least make sure like you got a fair shot at getting it. So that was, we've been using it on Polygon for months now, and we just launched on mainnet last week.
awesome.
Sorry,
yeah, I mean, the higher the value that's secured, the more important is that you make sure it's not exploited, right?
100%.
Anything that's cool coming on the roadmap that you want to share?
So we just released the Claw. That was a major thing we were working towards. We implemented batch runs, which allows somebody, instead of going on one fulfillment per run, you could do up to 25 using one transaction. We did that to save a little bit of link to be able to use for one of the updates that's going to be coming here soon. Like, hopefully, we'll have more information on that coming. But yeah, a lot to stay tuned for in the CyberKongz ecosystem here in Q3, Q4.
Awesome. Well, thanks a lot, man.
Absolutely.
It was good to hear about all of this. It's good to meet you.
Likewise, likewise. Thank you.
Yeah.